there she is. Her benevolence. Your benevolence, Refa Padma Khura'in. Thank you for coming all this way once again. Your gratitude is unnecessary. This is simply my duty. Barb-headed attorney. Yes? I am told you question the veracity of the sacred divination seance. It would seem the depths of your irreverence and blasphemy are lost on you. I'm just a simple caveman lawyer foreigner, ignorant in the... Actually, wait, is that the line from Caveman Lawyer? I'm just a foreigner, ignorant in the ways and customs of this country. I apologize in advance for anything rude I might say or do, your benevolence. All I want is a fair trial for Albi. You would imply that the trials of this country are unfair? Do explain, outsider. How verdicts founded on truths imparted by the very souls of the dead lack impartiality. What's fair about trials with no defense and no chance for the accused to tell their story? How dare you speak to her benevolence in that manner? Murmur, 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 stammer, stammer, rabble, rabble. We won't stand for it, he must be punished. Yikes, looks like I really stuck my foot in it this time. Punish him. Punish him. Punish him. Punish him. Silence, one and all. Is she standing up for me? Be not disquieted, my people. He merely expresses his opinion. Well, looks like her benevolence is going to be more reasonable than I thought. Attorneys are ghastly creatures with souls stained black by brazen untruths. The words of a lowly worm such as that are not worth troubling yourselves over. All right, I take that back. None of his prattling can sway the truth of my insights. Rest assured he will soon see the error of his foolish ways. Now then, your benevolence, the divination seance, if you would. Certainly. Nana, my robe.
O Holy Mother, we hold this divination seance in your name. Let the eyes of everyone here be clear, and our ears be unstopped. O dance of devotion, guide the victim's soul to me, so that we may receive their final memories in the pool of souls.
Is it going to be like an Obra Dinn thing? Are we going to get like... It's not just going to be testimony. It's going to be, we're going to see the crime scene. I'm into it. Also, she had something on her back. I couldn't tell if it was a real character or not. It looked a little bit like Moo. Nope. It might not be a real character. Are we... I have this feeling like we're going to see this dance every single, like... In every court case, at least once. They're gonna bring her out to do the whole full dance. They're super proud of it. Incense. Song of ceremony, boy's voice. Pain. Okay, all right, interesting. So unlike Obra Dinn, it's you're seeing their last moment or last moments from their perspective, though. Okay, along with what they were thinking. What just happened? An image appeared in the pool. A final message from the victim's soul. A last communication of his mitma. The divination seance has revealed this to us. Her benevolence can use her power of spirit communion to project the victim's memories of the last few moments before their demise. So what we saw in the pool is what Mr. Roll actually experienced? In the victim's memories, we see the accused raising a weapon. Objection. This is consistent with the findings of the police investigation. There has to be some kind of mistake. I didn't do it. This looks bad for Albie. Really, really bad. Now do you see why I'm the incredible pain? More than I can express. But even if those really are the victim's last memories, what can I do with them? There it is. There's the face of a man being utterly crushed. Oh, how long I've waited to see it. Isn't it wonderfully gratifying, Your Majesty? Oh yes, very satisfying indeed. Now you finally convinced, Traveler. The accused is most assuredly guilty. Am I really the only unbiased one here? Now then, I think we've been amused enough. If you give up now, I won't even invent the Defense Culpability Act against you. You'd be free to slink back to your own country with your tail between your legs. The Defense Culpability Act? What's that? What? You mean you honestly don't know? No? What's with all the hubbub, Bob? Well. Not only is he a lying, black-hearted lawyer, he's also an imbecile. Your Majesty, I think you'd better explain the Defense Culpability Act to him. Yes, I think I'd better. The Defense Culpability Act, or DC Act for short, is as follows. In the name of Her Eminence, those who would support criminals will be deemed just as guilty. In other words, if you help the accused by defending him and he is found guilty, you will receive the same sentence as he. What? Oh my god. Oh my god. Although actually it was sort of obvious. What kind of insane law is that? Under the DC Act, many an attorney has been convicted and met with a grim fate. Some went to prison, others received the death penalty. That's why there are so few in our country today who admit to being an attorney. That's as it should be. The history of our courts proves that. Attorneys are black-souled creatures who will tell any lie to save the accused. Thus, attorneys deserve to be exterminated. Master 2, il palazzo domani. I've never felt so much hostility coming at me from so many sides. What could have happened to make everyone feel this way? You fell right into my trap, Phoenix Wright. Your win streak against me and my brother ends today. With the seance and the DC Act on my side, I'll finally get my revenge. So that's why he was so eager to have me defend Albie. Chased out and humiliated back home. Fate brought me to the foothills of Khura'in. I thank my lucky stars that I'm chief prosecutor here now. Defense know that if I rule that the accused is guilty, you will go to prison too. That explains Albie's reaction earlier. Defend me. Mr. Wright, what are you saying? You can't do that.
Your Majesty, isn't a prison sentence a bit lenient? After all, we are talking about treason. One should pay for such a crime with one's life.
Yes, I believe the death penalty might be appropriate under these circumstances.
The death penalty?
No way. You're kidding, right? Your Majesty?
Do I look like I'm kidding? I'll have you put your life and your dark tainted soul on the line here.
Death? This can't be happening. The courts of resignation. Our courts are well known as thus. In this land where my seances provide the truth and no attorneys can intervene, criminals know that all they can do is resign themselves to their fate.
Oh, foreign lawyer, I ask you once more. Are you sure you still want to defend the accused? Let me just save while I think about that. Gulp.
There's Maya to think of in all this, too. Can't just lay down my life. What in the world should I do? Wouldn't it be funny? No, I mean, it wouldn't be appropriate to the game, but wouldn't it be funny if continuing the defense, like, if you actually, whether he did it or not, if you actually had to abandon the defense in order to continue the game, like, if you continue the defense, they're just like, yeah, like, duh, he did it. Okay, guilty. You're dead. Game over. And if you abandon the defense, then you eventually, I don't know. They execute him, and then later you find out that they just dropped him into a fake fire pit so that he could become a shade and, you know, run around in a black invisibility cloak ringing bells to help witches cast spells, etc., etc. Continue the defense. Isn't this why I became a lawyer in the first place? Oh, that flashback. To help those with no one on their side. I can't just abandon everything I believe in. That's the first case. Or the first game. All I can do now is stand firm and fight. Oops. Well, don't hold your tears back on my account, Phoenix Wright. Admit your defeat and grovel before me, the chief prosecutor, for your life. Even if it means being subject to the Defense Culpability Act, I will defend Albie. What? But Mr. Wright! The defendant insists he's innocent, and not even a divination seance should be accepted without examination. Pol Kun Ka! But if I'm found guilty, you'll get the death penalty too, even knowing that you still want to defend me? I don't know what happened in the past, but it looks like everyone in this country considers lawyers to be liars. So I can understand if you don't believe me, but I still believe in you and your innocence. So all I have to do is keep believing and find the truth. That's all there is to it. Wouldn't it also be funny if we did get killed here, and then the rest of the game is Maya summons us as a ghost, and we are Ghost Phoenix. We are the spirit. See what I'm about to do here? The spirit of justice. Barbed-headed attorney, you continue to amuse me. Though your barbed jabs are proving to be more than mere jokes. Your benevolence. Believe me when I say that this attorney will knock your insides out. Sokomadeo. Insolent, disrespectful attorney. You'll have plenty of time to regret your folly in the Twilight Realm.
Not a wise move, traveler, not wise at all. You should have taken the chance I offered to save your life, but you have made your choice. The Defense Culpability Act will be applied in this case. And with this verdict, you'll both soon be parting with your heads.
Dies a death! Sentenced to death! Great equalizer is the death! The souls of the departed speak only the truth, and I but give their messages a voice. If you think my insights contain falsehood, I challenge you to prove it. The accused swung whatever he was holding down on the victim's head. With the pain, the victim's vision went dark. This is when he lost his life. Still, I can't believe it. A murder after the morning dance of devotion? These are the victim's experiences just before his death. As the victim's final memories, we can assume they aren't lies. Interestingly, as an aside, there is legal precedent for that, sort of. Normally, I don't know if I'll necessarily get this right. Normally, you cannot provide someone else's statement as your own testimony, as a testament of fact. That is hearsay. If someone is going to make a statement, they have to be there. They have to show up and be in the courtroom so that they can be cross-examined. I couldn't go into court and say, "Hey, the guy said this." It's like, nope, that's hearsay. You can't say that someone told you that. It's not allowed. There is an exception to the hearsay rule, apparently, called... what's it called? It's a what's it called? It's like a something utterance, like deathbed utterance or something. Like if someone, like if you are allowed to present someone else's testimony, and it is admissible if they were... that's a dying utterance. If they either were dying or had reason to believe that they were dying. Like, the idea that as someone dies, what they say wouldn't be a lie. I don't know that it's invoked all that often, because it wouldn't happen all that often. That would be, like, necessary testimony in order to convict someone. Dying utterance. Go Wikipedia it. So how do I break this down? Allow me to relieve you of your ignorance, defense. Did you notice the words that appeared in the seance vision? They were in English, because we are in Japanifornia. Or no, we took a plane to somewhere other than Japanifornia. Come to think of it, I did see words like Song of Ceremony and Incense. The victim's final memories are not limited to sight alone. Sight, smell, taste, sound, touch, all is laid bare in the pool of souls. So what Mr. Roll experienced with his 5 senses appeared in the vision as words, right? Precisely. And by examining these sensations, we can perceive the victim's final moments with unparalleled clarity. Works for me. I can use all the extra information I can get. Now, to find a contradiction between her insights and the seance vision. Your benevolence, I ask that you please show me the seance vision again. Very well. So he smells incense. He hears the Song of Ceremony and the boy's voice. And then feels pain. So the contradiction here is if he was killed between 12 and 1 p.m., he shouldn't have been able to hear the Song of Ceremony. So he was actually killed during the morning song. Wait a minute. Her benevolence said after the morning dance of devotion earlier, didn't she? Isn't there something off about that? First, I'll swipe my way to the insight that seems off. Will you? Will you swipe with a mouse? Yes, this is the insight that sounded funny. Now, I'll just carefully compare this insight with a seance vision. If I notice a sensation that seems contradictory, I'll tap select. This is it. This is the part of the vision that contradicts the insight. Now I just select the sensation I think is inconsistent and then present it.
Objection!
Cool. I'm into this. I'm into this as another court mechanic. Just wait a moment. Yes, what is it, Barbed Head? You're saying the incident occurred after the morning dance of devotion, right? That's right. What of it? Then isn't it strange that Mr. Roll could still hear the Song of Ceremony? Oh my, you're absolutely right. Murmur, murmur, murmur. Is that all that troubles you? Huh? What the victim heard was just a practice run of the Song of Ceremony. Practice run? What are you talking about? Mr. Payne, if you would. Certainly. Allow me to explain. The incident occurred in the interval between the morning and afternoon dances. During that time, the singers were practicing in the performance hall. Precisely. I was there as well, so I can corroborate this statement. I see. So what the victim heard was that practice session. Ugh. There goes my contradiction. But the shutters were closed. He shouldn't have been able to hear it. So they were practicing in this performance hall. That must be the room where Albie and I saw her benevolence dancing. However, Mr. Payne, I admit one detail troubles me. Ask away, your majesty. It's a big temple. The performance hall and treasure room are quite far from each other. Could the song really be heard all the way in the treasure room? He's right. It is a very big temple. Well, how about it, Mr. Payne? Your Majesty, have you forgotten? There are speakers in every room of Temple, including the treasure room. Oh, that's right. Speakers? For what purpose? Are you serious, Mr. Wright? They're to broadcast the sacred music of the performance hall throughout the temple. That's why the victim could hear the Song of Ceremony in the seance vision. It was the practice run going on in the performance hall, heard over the speakers. Thank you for your explanation, your benevolence. That makes perfect sense, even to a feeble-minded old man like me. Think nothing of it. Now, if you wouldn't mind, could you please alter your insights for us? Very well. Insight revised. The Song of Ceremony the victim heard was of a practice run through the temple's speakers. I think I'm getting the hang of this. If I point out an inconsistency, she'll update her insights accordingly. So if I keep pointing things out, maybe I can knock all of her insights out after all. I better find another inconsistency, no matter how small. It's a bit hard to focus on the insights with the seance vision going. I'll try using the pause button to temporarily stop the vision. There, I paused the vision. I think I can tap the flashing panels to jump to different parts of the vision. I'll try moving the Mitma mark to the flashing red panel there. Okay, now that I know how to get around in seance visions, it's time to find inconsistencies between the insights and the vision. I guess it's gonna be the incense? This would actually be only during the Dance of Devotion. That's not going to be relevant just yet. I do kind of, I like, similar to the other game, they've kind of moved away from the tutorial case being really short and like easy. Because the first 3 games at least were like that. Does the incense... This is the only thing that's changed, so this statement should be the only thing that could be contradicted, I believe. Oh, I can't click incense? Why not? Oh, and things in the like not just the I guess things that you can see also count, maybe. I guess I'm gonna try.
Objection!
Blah. Did not work. Nope. I just get the vague feeling something doesn't quite add up, you know. Penalty! Blah. Well, I can just eat one of the Magatama buns and get that back. Ah, yes, something isn't right. A solid defense. Yes, yes. What's up, Soul? Alright, so maybe I'm thinking about it the wrong way. I was thinking that whatever the first contradiction, like, whatever this contradiction is, that it would have to be something that didn't exist before. Maybe that's not right. The victim's vision went dark. When does he feel the pain? Is this gonna count? Like... that there's no... like, there is no pain yet?
Objection!
Yes, that's right. You're saying the victim's field of vision went dark right after he was struck, correct? This is... wow. Even I don't approve of this. It's like, he closed his eyes a moment before somebody bashed his brains out. That shouldn't prove anything. Of course, as anyone with eyes can see. Well, pardon me, but I must disagree. What? Your benevolence, please take another look at the exact moment the victim felt pain. Oh. Everything goes black, and then, only after that, the victim feels pain. Inconceivable. How could anyone close their eyes just before someone standing over them beats them about the skull with a heavy chest? This places the order of events at odds with what you say happened. My word!
Polkunka, your benevolence, what is the meaning of this?
I cannot be wrong. My insights are beyond fallacy.
If what the defense says is true, this is a very grave matter indeed. Please forgive me, your benevolence, but I'm afraid this contradiction is something we simply can't ignore.
Objection!
Now, let's not be too hasty, your majesty. I think I can clear this up. You have something to add, Mr. Payne? 1,000 apologies. It seems the prosecution has failed to make one tiny thing clear.
And that would be?
On the day of the incident... Of course, there was a power outage.
Nobody can ever get murdered without there being a power outage. There was a power outage, a blackout in one part of the temple, and as I recall, the crime scene was in that sector. The power outage must be why the victim's field of vision went dark. I apologize for neglecting to tell the court this detail. I'm afraid it slipped my mind. Or rather, you knew all along and are only letting it slip now that it's convenient, Payne.
The power outage knocked out both the lights and speakers.
Oh, there was a blackout there, was there? Well, now, that explains everything, does it not?
What do you mean, your benevolence? Please, share your thoughts with us, if you would.
The blackout occurred when the accused and the victim were faced with one another. Fearing the victim would flee under the cover of darkness, the accused swiftly brought his weapon down on the victim's head.
I see. That makes perfect sense, your benevolence.
So the victim was struck after the lights went out.
The depth of your insight is awe-inspiring, your benevolence. Give her a hand, everyone.
Hey, I want to live long and prosper too. Enough applause. You flatter me.
Now, your benevolence, in light of this new information.
Yes, of course. I will alter my insight. One can safely assume the accused struck the victim the moment the blackout began. So much for my inconsistency. At least I was able to draw out some new info. And with new info comes a chance to find new inconsistencies. Now, to compare the insights with the vision again, and see what else I can dig up. Yeah, we, boo-da-boo-boo-boo-da-boo. Would you look at that?
Objection!
Damn, proven wrong by unknown information. I mean, that's a staple of the genre. Like, what else, what could you possibly... The cases would be too short if, from the very beginning, if you had enough information to figure everything out. Yes, I finally found it. This is the gaping hole I've been looking for. Your benevolence, as impressive as your spirit communion power is, it's not infallible. You never know when to stop talking, do you? I hope you realize your words are an insult to all adherents of Khura'inism.
Defense, watch what you say. If you don't mind that tongue of yours, you won't have one left to mind.
It's certainly not my intention to insult spirit mediums, but maybe I'm not the one who needs to learn when to stop talking. What malarkey. I believe you said a few moments ago that the victim could hear the Song of Ceremony thanks to the temple's speakers. But then how do you explain how the victim could still hear the Song of Ceremony after the power went out? Oh. This contradiction of facts can only mean that the Song of Ceremony Mr. Roll was not coming from the speakers.
What? Impossible. What are you saying? That the song he heard was coming directly from the performance hall?
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's the only possible explanation.
But the scene of the crime was nowhere near the performance hall.
Right. The song couldn't make it all the way to the treasure room. Not unless... You mean to say... Yes, the treasure room was not the actual scene of the crime. It must have been somewhere else. Somewhere closer to the performance hall.
What? You can't be serious.
And sound can't travel. There is a glaring contradiction in the claims of her benevolence and the prosecution. Well, actually, we don't know if that map is to scale. I didn't see any scale in there. I didn't see a banana on that map. Therefore, the defense insists this case be thoroughly re-examined. What? No.
This is completely unprecedented. An inconsistency in her benevolence's insights. Unbelievable.
Heed not his forked tongue, your majesty. These are but the claims of a corrupt lawyer, a feeble ruse from a feeble mind.
But the contradiction revealed by the defense is undeniable. We can't just turn a blind eye to it. But the defense's assertion is, in the end, meaningless. Even if the location of the murder turned out to be different, it doesn't change what we've seen of the moment of the murder.
Indeed. The accused is standing right here in front of the victim. Furthermore, the murder weapon remains raised above his head. My insights still stand. I hate to admit it, but she's right. The seance vision still makes the situation look really grim for Albie. I doubt even the defense can dream up an explanation as to why the accused had his hands up over his head. Well, this defense dares to dream of making it out of this nightmare alive.
You what?
You still insist on trying to tear down my insights, do you? You'd better be prepared to back up your claim. Remember what will happen to that tongue of yours if we find you are just wagging it. Of course I can back up my claim, just as soon as I think of something.
You appear to be fully prepared, defense. As the embodiment of this court, I give you permission to try and prove your claim, as long as you're willing to stake your life on it.
I concur, your majesty. For a second, I thought there was a glitch with the game, like that you could see like a weird polygon, but she actually does have a thing dangling from her wrist, so that was fine. I thought it was just a pink triangle. I concur, your majesty. Prepare the tongue shears. Chop, chop.
Chop, chop. Yes, let's have the bailiff fetch them. I think I saw a suitable pair in the basement. Chop, chop.
Stop, stop. I hear that lying lawyers have several tongues to spare. I'm sure he won't miss one. Yikes, people are actually serious. They're attached to my tongue. Think, Phoenix, think! Other than to raise a weapon, why would Albie have held his hands up like that? Ah, so that's why. The reason the defendant had his hands up over his head can be explained by something in the crime photo. As in the seance vision, I witnessed the defendant raise both of his hands over his head yesterday.
You did?
Where did you see such a thing? When the police had their guns trained on him as they made their arrest.
Oh, are you saying?
The victim was a security guard, and an armed one at that. The defense proposes that the victim had pointed his firearm at Alvin, and that's why the defendant's hands were in the air. Polunka! Who would have thought the seance vision could be interpreted that way? Oh, she ukemi'd and got right back up. This is not possible. It can't be. Not bad for a total knockout. How dare that lawyer devil go against her benevolence? He's no better than that traitorous snake, Dirk.
Traitorous snake? Dirk? Who's that?
Is there going to be a traitorous snake in this game? Is every game going to be Metal Gear Solid? I think so. No, I can't believe it. A contradiction in one of my insights? There has to be some kind of mistake. I won't accept it. That's right, your benevolence, and I won't accept it either. It goes against all we hold sacred. Throw him in jail immediately for lèse majesté. What is that? That's... I don't know how to say it either. It's the crime of insulting the crown, I think. It is actually still illegal in some countries, I guess, probably. Yeah, you said it. Throw him in jail. Make him pay for the way he disrespected her benevolence. Oh, people are definitely not my fans right now. That's right. Exterminate him.
Peace. Give me peace. I said peace. Now everyone, please calm down.
Is he? Your Majesty, please assign this black-hearted attorney a suitable punishment.
No, I can't charge him with lèse majesté.
What?
What? But why not, Your Majesty? He was simply following the proper procedure for defending the accused. There's nothing unlawful about that.
But, Your Majesty, don't you want to wrap this trial up quickly? Why not just give your verdict, then you can go home and make it up to your wife?
We can't end the trial now, not when we just learned new information about the case.
What? Your Majesty, not you too. You would honestly entertain the idea that my insight contains a contradiction?
Truly, it is shocking. In the 20-plus years since the DC Act went into effect, such a thing has never occurred. To be honest, I didn't want to believe it either. But with his life on the line, the defense pointed out an inconsistency, and it is our duty to scrutinize it to the satisfaction of the law.
You dare go against the royal priestess, you unbeliever. Non-believer.
No, my faith is as strong as ever. But I have a duty to make a fair ruling in this trial. If you insist on interfering with that process, Your Benevolence, I'm afraid I must request your removal from this courtroom, Royal Priestess or not.
What? I'll have you know.
Your Benevolence. Please acquiesce in this, Your Benevolence.
Grr! If looks could kill, I won't forget this offense, barbed head. I will not admit defeat. I won't.
Bailiff, please see Her Benevolence out.
Your Mitma will face due retribution in the Twilight Realm. The demons there they'll pluck the barbs right off your stupid head. Ha ha ha! I hope your suffering will be super duper painful. And I hope they throw you into a lake of burning fire. Yeah, and then... I guess she's still just a teenager after all.
But 18, so it's okay. Now then, defense, Mr. Light, was it?
That's right, Your Majesty. Phoenix Wright.
Of course. Mr. Wright, my apologies. Well, now that we have this newly uncovered fact, I suggest we proceed with arguments.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Yes, but do not misunderstand me. This doesn't mean I trust you completely. I'll be keeping a close eye on you, so don't even think about lying to this court.
I understand, Your Majesty. Phew! Maybe now we can finally run a real trial.
Arguments, Your Majesty.
Very well, I accept your challenge. Huh? What's with him?
Oh, the look on your face, Mr. Wright. It's just... it's just too hilarious. What's so funny, Mr. Payne?
The defense still doesn't get it. The truth he unearthed is going to bury him and his case instead. What do you mean by that, prosecutor?
I told you, it's Chief Prosecutor.
Yes, because that's the point to focus on right now.
The defense is digging its own grave.
Consider this, Your Majesty. Why would the victim, a security guard, point a gun at the accused?
Oh.
Oh, indeed. Because the accused was about to commit a theft. It's the only logical explanation.
What?
That does sound pretty logical, actually. It doesn't help the accused situation at all. If anything, it makes him look even more guilty.
Yes, I have to agree. One sec. I'm gonna grab a soda.
This is a good case so far. I like it. I'm into it. Allow me to spell out this truth the defense didn't bother to think through. Mr. Roll came across the accused just as he was trying to steal the treasure. The guard pointed his gun at the accused, and just when the power went out, the accused murdered the victim and hid his body in the treasure room. A hand truck for moving heavy treasure around is stored in the treasure room. The accused could have easily moved the body with that. Weren't there stairs? And after all that hard work to knock down those insights. Back in the old familiar corner once more.
Mr. Wright, do you have a rebuttal?
Blank here. I hope you're ready to climb that scaffold.
I asked you a question, defense.
I've got nothing. I can't think of grounds for an objection. The only thing to do at this point is ask the defendant himself what happened, but I don't know if Albie will cooperate with me or not. Albie? Will you tell us what really happened? You don't have to say anything, accused. Fall for his evil trap and you'll only dirty your own soul. Albie, you have to tell me the truth. I can't help you unless you do. Ugh. Mr. Wright, I'm sorry. Why? Why won't he trust me? Is this it? Is this the end for both of us? Well, that's my story. Maya, I'm sorry. I never met a real lawyer before. Everybody always told me they're bad people who help dirty criminals go free. I never thought a lawyer would actually try to help me, would actually believe in me, would risk his own life for me. I never would have even imagined it. Albie! So, that's why I lied, to try and save myself. But I'm not going to lie anymore. If you believe in me enough to put your life on the line, then I'm going to believe in you, too. What? Allow me to explain. Satsume Shio. Now we're talking. Finally, it's time to finally get to the bottom of things. To be honest, I went into the treasure room lots of times to look at the treasure box.
Even though the temple told you you weren't allowed to go anywhere near it?
Yes, I'm sorry. Mr. Roll even saw me once and scolded me. But that box is so beautiful, the way it glows in the dark.
Well, there we go.
I couldn't help myself.
Wait, it glows in the dark?
That's right, it's covered in this special mineral called fluorinite that makes it glow. It's absolutely breathtaking. It's really a shame they don't put it on display for the public. Can you imagine how many people would go on night tours of the temple if they did? If only he applied such passion to telling me the truth earlier. So I guess because of these stairs, that's going to prove that he was murdered in the storeroom, not in the chamber? Because we don't think... Well, we'll figure it out. On the day of the incident, I was on my way to the treasure room again when I ran into Mr. Roll on the Great Stairs.
So those were not the treasure room stairs in the seance vision.
Do we have that map? We totally don't. No. No, they were the Great Stairs that connect to the hallway. Also, I'm going to save again. Safety save. Makes sense. The vision wasn't clear enough to show us what was at the top of the stairs. Now we get a temple diagram, finally. All of a sudden, Mr. Roll drew his gun and threatened me with it. I quickly put my hands up. Mr. Roll, he acted so scary. For some reason, he had his scarf over his mouth. I couldn't read his expression at all. Just then, the power went out. So I took that chance to hightail it out of there. I ran for my life. Even now, when I try to think back on it, all I can remember are the gun and the piercing look in Mr. Roll's eyes. That must have been when I dropped the notice scroll. Which means someone else brought it to the treasure room along with Mr. Roll's body. Did Mr. Roll say anything to you when you ran into him on the stairs? What is it, Albie? I have no idea why, but he asked me a strange question. Did you steal it? He said. What? I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't say all this before. I didn't think anybody would believe me. A grand speech. One that confirmed my suspicions that you were the thief.
Objection!
But that might have just been the victim's misunderstanding. Where there's smoke, there's fire, as they say. The victim must have had good reason to be suspicious of the accused. Why does every new piece of information seem so incriminating? Can we just take a picture of that? Can we frame that and make a suit for Phoenix that's just covered in those words? Why does every new piece of information have to seem so incriminating? Shah'do, what do I do, Shah'do? And what better reason to suspect the boy than seeing the treasure box in his hands? In the course of his rounds, the victim must have noticed that the treasure had been stolen, and then just after that, he ran into the accused. I'll be your guide. No, that's not what happened. Therefore, the one who stole the treasure and killed the victim can be none other than the accused. What now? Shah'do, down, boy.
Well, what do we have here?
I'm sorry about this. This is my dog, Shah'do.
You nearly gave me a heart attack.
So that's what was making his bag move.
Can't you try it? Quiet that yappy mutt down.
Shah'do says that Mr. Roll made a mistake.
You can understand him? Sure, why not? Don't tell me this is a surprise witness for the defense. No, I only cross-examine parrots. I beg your pardon? You're not thinking of cross-examining an animal, are you?
Of course not, Your Majesty. Not this time, anyway.
Phew. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I thought I'd have to reassess my assessment of your sanity for a second there. I think I'd better reassess my strategy, and fast.
I have to somehow show that somebody else could have struck the victim, or were sunk. While it's true that the defendant was standing in front of the victim when he died, it doesn't mean somebody else couldn't have struck the victim at that time.
If you're going to go that far, then I hope this means you have another angle of approach ready.
Exactly. I mean, who but the accused, standing front and center, could have done it?
As if there is a direction other than in front of.
Nonsense.
Unless you can back up your claim, it's nothing more than conjecture. Okay, come on, Phoenix. I know I can think up something convincing.
Where else could the victim have been struck from?
Behind him?
Take that!
With the defendant standing in front of the victim, isn't it possible that the victim could have been struck from behind?
From behind, you say? I see. Yes, I suppose it's not outside the realm of possibility.
Good. Now at least I have some breathing room.
But who do you suppose it could have been?
Oh, the true culprit, naturally. The one who actually committed the theft and murder.
The true culprit?
I suppose you have a true timeline of events to go along with that?
Shouldn't I have to explain everything?
Alright, if we assume the true culprit struck the victim from behind, then that means... after going to the treasure room and stealing the treasure, the true culprit tried to escape. But then Mr. Roll appeared making his rounds. I imagine the culprit then quickly hid in the storeroom at the other end of the hallway.
You're grasping at straws, Mr. Wright. Admit it, you have done nothing but baseless conjecture.
I'm going to look for something to base it on right now. Albie, when you ran into Mr. Roll in the hallway, was there anyone around the storeroom area? I don't know. There might have been somebody there, but I couldn't see. I was only halfway down the stairs, so I couldn't see the ends of that hallway. I see. Swing and miss. Oh, Shah'do says someone was there. Well, that counts. I see. Thank you for that. Too bad his testimony is inadmissible. Oh, good. You think this is a joke? Maybe the defendant didn't happen to see this other person. But that doesn't mean the true culprit couldn't have been there in the hallway. Your desperate floundering is getting hard to watch. But I will enjoy watching you sink. What are you talking about? Unfortunately for you, only the accused and the victim were there in that hallway at the time of the incident. How can you continue to make that assertion? Because there was a witness, a very reliable eyewitness. What? Your Majesty, the prosecution would like to call its witness to the stand.
Calling an eyewitness to the stand, It's been decades since that happened.
And unlike the defense's witness, you can rest assured that there are no pets involved. That was a low blow. Ooze a suicide. Objection. Objection overruled. Very well, I'll allow it. And now for something we've not heard in quite some time. Bring the witness to the stand.